Well, welcome to the show.
This is Our View from the Bench. Individual end of the year awards. So offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year. And we're going to go ahead and give our picks and why we think that they are the guy that's going to win the award. The NFL honors. I know we're looking ahead, man. I know we're looking ahead, but that's what we're trying to do here. We've already predicted the Super Bowl, so we got to predict this now. We've chosen basically the main awards. There might be some other ones, like especially the sponsored ones,
Yeah.
But the main awards we've chosen, and we'll reveal our picks here. The odds here are provided by FanDuel. When I looked this up was the other day, so they may have changed, but this is basically kind of who we are running with. So, defensive rookie of the year, we've got Jalen Carter and Joey Porter Jr. You took
Joey Porter Jr. I think that he's going to be really good. I mean, not only we all know his dad obviously played in the NFL for the Steelers as a linebacker. He plays cornerback, so it's not the same position or anything. But the fact that he's going into the NFL already kind of knowing the way of life as far as an NFL player goes and what to expect, because I'm sure his dad has been there and told him enough. But also, not only that, he's playing with T.J. Watt, who's a defensive player just 2 years ago. So if Pittsburgh plays defense like they normally do, and T.J. Watt does his job up front on the defensive line, then I'm thinking Porter in the backfield as a corner is going to get a lot of interceptions, which if that's the case and the Steelers are winning, then he's going to be right in the chase for the defensive rookie of the year.
There you go. I like it. I like the bet too. The odds, man. I like
Right?
I like you stretching there. I think he's going to be great. Sometimes these stories, people, I feel like they overlook. Now, sometimes it does go the other way, but sometimes I feel like they overlook kids from other athletes as like he's probably not going to be as good as his dad. So,
Yeah.
but I'm glad that he was kind of taken, and I'm glad that he went to the Steelers. I mean, come on, dude. He had to go to the Steelers, right?
Well, not only that, if I remember correctly, if was he taken 32nd overall, so
Oh yeah.
it's not like he was a fourth round pick. He's a
No.
high caliber talent that they're looking to be a big part of their defense.
Well, I'm glad that he fell to the Steelers. That was the perfect fit.
Right?
I, however, am going with Jalen Carter of the Philadelphia Bulldog. No, Eagles. Sorry, I forgot. There's so many dang Georgia freaking players on this dang team. They might as well just change their name. But I think that he just benefits from the scheme. I know it's going to be probably a different scheme, but they have so much talent on the team. They were able to re-sign a lot of the players. Not too many people go. And I think that he also benefits from the fact that the offense is most likely going to be putting up points. So hopefully the team will be playing from ahead, and he'll be able to just get those pass rushes in. It's a filthy line and linebacking core, so it should be good. I do want to note though, I was gonna pick. There's somebody else, Tyree Wilson, that I was gonna pick from the Raiders. I think that he has a chance because he's going to be opposite Max Crosby. So
Ooh.
they're going to be paying a lot of attention to him. He's going to have an opportunity to kind of make a name for himself. So we'll see. That's my sleeper one, but I'm going to stick with Jalen Carter.
It's a good choice either way, but that's a sneaky one, like you talked about on the Raiders with Tyree Wilson, because it also depends on how good the Raiders really are. Are they like fighting from behind, and it's just them on the defensive line, basically just trying to get as many sacks and get their stats up?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, and if it is, I mean, it's as much as it is about production, it is stats as well. They are willing. The NFL is willing to. It's not like the NBA where it's just best player on the best team. That's who gets
that's
MVP.
true.
You know what I'm saying? This one, I feel like they're a little bit more strategic about giving these types of things, and you don't have to be on a great team to prove your worth. So that's the only thing I kind of would give it to him is I think maybe he might have a chance there. Moving on, though, to the opposite side of the ball, sticking with rookies, we're going to go to the offensive rookie of the year candidates. And Corey and I have chosen Zay and Addison, respectively. You chose Addison. You also drafted Addison in your fantasy draft.
Yeah.
So you really do believe in him double. Hey, you know what? You gave me crap for Tua. Yeah, here you are picking an award and drafted him too. What are your
Okay,
thoughts on it?
but let's give me some credit here. Addison did win
Two
the
is brittle.
award in college of the best wide receiver in the country when he was in Pittsburgh, not when he was in SC. His last year in college,
Oh, okay.
where he
At Pitt.
played with
Okay.
and had a really good year as well with Lincoln Riley in that offense. So I
Was
think
Kenny Pickett there?
actually he might have been that might have been Pickett
Right?
there. Yeah,
Okay.
actually I think it was. And then
Because he
part of the
played.
thing too is going to Minnesota. Obviously, Justin Jefferson's going to take a lot of attention from the
A
defense. So I
lot
feel
of
like
attention.
Addison will have more one-on-one opportunities, especially as a rookie. They're probably not going to double team him to begin with. So I feel
Yeah,
like if he can get going early and get his confidence up, then he'll have a big year once the season's over.
I can see that. I went with Zay Flowers. We looked them up respectively, and they're basically the same. Obviously, we see here they're the same odds. I'm going to say that Lamar finally has the weapons that he's been looking for, apparently, or been needing, and they have a pretty high-powered offense already. If Lamar stays healthy, like you say. You, I believe, have him doing well this year.
Yes, I do.
So, and the Baltimore going far, obviously. So, I just have seen this kid, and honestly, when I was doing a little bit of research, I went and I looked up. Highlights of this guy. I'm not kidding you. Not knowing anything before, I knew that I had heard his name, but I was like, I want to see what he looks like on the field. And dude, this kid can ball. When I was watching him, I was sitting here. I probably was in five minutes into the highlights, and I'm sitting here. I'm like, I know exactly who this is. This is Deshaun Jackson. So I
Oh,
went quickly and like looked it up. Deshaun Jackson, 5'10", 175. Zay Flowers, 5'9", 183.
so the same person.
Yeah, dude, he's shifty, he's fast, and he seems to run like really sharp routes. So I feel like he could be a nice over the top threat for Lamar on that offense, and I think that explosive plays garner attention. So
Yeah, and
if he can
that's
get enough of
definitely
them,
going to be a huge thing for him to have OBJ as the guy who's going to be running the shorter routes and
and Mark
inside stuff.
Andrews,
Oh, dang, I forgot about that. Yeah, so for him to just be able to run down the field and have it to himself, if Lamar has the time and from the offensive line protecting him, he can get it down there. Then yeah, Zay Flowers gonna have a huge year.
so and like you said, they're both like the third maybe receiver. And their teams respectively, Addison and Flowers. So less attention at least, and you
Yeah,
got
for sure.
big names, kind of garnering a lot of the other ones. So.
Yeah,
All right, let's
absolutely.
move on then. Moving on to the defensive player of the year. We've got Miles Garrett and Micah Parsons. You've got who?
Miles Garrett. I've got the
All right.
Browns making the playoffs as a wild card team. I think a big part of that is that this defense is going to do what they need to do in order to. Because I mean, I like Deshaun Watson, and obviously last year with the suspension, there's a short, late year start, and how awkward the offense looked. So hopefully that'll be better. And if that's the case, and they can be in a lot of games, and the defense is going to be that much more important. I think the NFC North, all those teams kind of beat up on each other and are defensively built first a lot of the time. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a huge part of it. And if they make it into the playoffs, then I think a huge thing of that is going to be Miles Garrett playing his ass off and having a huge year.
And the cool part about them playing in a difficult division is I feel like that does weigh, like I said, maybe not team success, but team opponents weighs heavily with
Oh
voters
yeah,
too. If he's getting Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow and disrupting these like high power, I know you have them making the playoffs, but I know you have the other two making the playoffs as well. So
yeah,
if he's getting these high, these teams high up in the AFC and he's knocking them around, and people just kind of take notice and add a little bit more to it. So I can see that. I like him. He was second in the odds at the plus 600 behind only my pick,
I was going to say
Micah
we both
Parsons.
didn't go off the board very far there, did we, on this one?
No, and honestly, when we were looking at it, I don't remember off the top of my head who they were. I mean, there's the obvious names of the TJ Watts, the Sauce Gardners, those types of players as well. But I've unless something drastic happens to these guys, knock on wood, I don't see it going to anybody but these two.
Yeah,
So I'm picking Micah. I think this guy is just a fucking animal, dude. I wanted to go with like an underdog. I mean, even Miles Garrett is more of an underdog being second, but I just couldn't do it. He's been talking a lot this offseason about how hungry he is. He doesn't want to just be a great linebacker. He wants to be the greatest linebacker.
yeah,
And he does all sorts of different things. He's kind of like a bigger Tyrann Mathieu. The Honey Badger can blitz. He can play safety. He can play man. But he's just a bigger version. He can't, maybe he don't guard receivers as well as Tyrann could, but he also doesn't. He blitzes better than him because he's just huge. So I think he's hungry, and I think he's going to be one of the best defenses in the NFL. And because the stats of the defense will be high, and he's going to be the leader of it, I think he'll be responsible for most of his team's success. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to Micah.
Not a bad choice. The Cowboys had a great defense last year, and a big part of it was him. So if he can come back and have a big year, and the Cowboys especially are in it, which in the NFC East they definitely have a chance. A big part of it is going to be Micah Parsons having a good season.
100%, 100%. So, and honestly, you're the Browns getting to the playoffs. Myles Garrett's going to have to do a lot. So if he
Right?
does, it's a great pick as well. It's a great pick as well. We differ here, but we actually found one where we agree,
I was
and we're
actually
both
shocked
picking
we
the
only
same.
had one that we had the same pick.
True, true. We didn't do it on purpose. I was picking.
No.
I just picked whoever, and you just picked whoever. And this one, we both kind of agreed that the offensive player of the year, in our opinion, is going to be Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, it's hard not to think. I mean, a full season and camp and everything to get that offense that Mike Shanahan runs, which is good for his style of play and what he can do. Purdy's back. They'll have Kittle. They'll have Ayuk. They'll have Debo. I mean, they've got just weapons all over the field, and I expect
Everywhere.
McCaffrey to do a lot of the. I mean, just it's just crazy to think
He's the
about
head of the
what
snake.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just last year he was only in 11 games with the Niners at the end of the season. And again, like I said, no camp, no like learning the playbook ahead of time. He's had a whole off season. He's got a preseason together. He's got a whole ton more of feel for this offense and what he's able to do with it than he
Even
ever
a
had.
mini playoff run, that
Yeah,
builds, because that's tight conditions. You're really, those are inches. They literally were an arm away from really competing in that NFC title game. So
yeah, absolutely.
I agree, obviously, with you. San Francisco runs through, well, the running game.
Yeah.
That's pun intended, I guess. But this guy is just electric, and I feel like he's just going to flourish. Like you said, he had 11 games with them, went into the postseason. A new full off season with Shanahan, seems ready to just kind of shine. Only thing, praying for health, buddy. Please, please,
Absolutely.
please. We want to see you get through a full season, especially with this offense. We wanted to see him get through seasons with freaking Carolina, and they weren't doing anything. So
Right.
with these people, man, he could just be crazy. So I think that he could do it.
Yeah, that's what
So
I'm
I guess we
hoping for.
both
Like we
agree.
said, 11 games last year, and he did a great job in those 11 games being thrown in
Mm-hmm.
there. So I expect a huge
Okay,
season.
100%, 100%. Moving on, coming back though to the comeback. We're doing comeback player of the year. We have Tua and Odell. The odds here might seem a little skewed, and it's because they are. I actually have Tua, and he is the second most
Wow.
likely player to win comeback player of the year at plus 2,000. Yes, that means a $100 bet gets you plus $2,000. The
Wow.
the problem is that basically the award is already being handed out to Damar Hamlin. And I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve it. I'm just hoping that his play deserves it, not just the fact that he's playing. I understand that that is very important. I think we should applaud him for it.
Yeah.
But I don't think that we should take away the idea of the award and take it from somebody else just because he made it back to the field. And who knows really in what capacity? How many snaps does he even get?
That's, yeah.
So I'm going with Tua. So anyways, he's at minus 350. So again, these are a little bit of a stretch. It's most likely going to him, but I'm hoping he stays healthy. I'm thinking they lead him to the AFC East title, and I just think that he stays healthy, and that 7 games that he missed is now a complete season. I'm like, oh wow, great job. You're
Yeah.
moving with
It's not a bad pick on Tua because I mean, I think there was a stat where every game he started at one point they had basically won every game. So
yes,
if he's healthy and makes it through a whole year, then the Dolphins should be very good, especially with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and all that, all the weapons they have on that offense. My God.
100%. Yes, exactly. Fast, but you've got Odell.
Yeah, I feel like Baltimore is going to have a really good year. It just all kind of lines up. Odell's coming back. He's had a year and a half off basically from the injury in the Super Bowl with the Rams. He's out to prove. They have Zay Flowers, who you picked to be the offensive rookie of the year. And then now Lamar comes back with his contract. He's healthy. They have a new offensive coordinator who, from all the stuff we hear out of the beginning of preseason and everything, Lamar loves the new offense. They feel it. They're on the same page, him and the coordinator. They understand exactly what their game plan is and what they're doing. If that's the case, then I expect Odell to have a good year. I mean, he's had 1,000 yards or more in every season that he's played, double-digit games
Like
with
a full season. Oh,
with
okay.
the same team. When he's had a whole season with one team,
Oh,
he's played 10 or more games. And one of those years he was in Cleveland with Baker Mayfield, and Baker Mayfield's not even that good of a quarterback. So I feel like with Lamar and Zay Flowers and all the other weapons they have, that Odell's going to have a nice year. And I think like coming after the ACL tear from the Super Bowl, which if he wouldn't have torn, he might have won the MVP of that Super Bowl.
Honestly,
So
he
here's his
was,
comeback
yeah,
player of the
looking
year
like
award.
it. And it's not too far off that a receiver would win it. Edelman won it when they won a Super Bowl.
There you
So,
go. See?
but yeah, so I've got I think I like them both. I don't think they're going to happen because obviously, but and again, I don't mean any negativity towards Damar Hamlin. It
Absolutely.
has nothing to do with him. It's more, I just want the essence of the thing to still be real and like really be, because of the play on the field is what won them the award, not just the
Yeah,
fact that
I'm
they're on,
with you.
which is
I
still a blessing.
totally,
So
yeah, no, but understandable because if he, like you said, we don't know how many games he ends up playing. What if he only plays the first couple and then he's not as good as he once was, and they end up like kind of putting him on the IL or whatever that happens? I
yeah,
mean, I hope that doesn't. Like you
me
said, I
either.
hope that he does play well and that he does have good
Yeah,
numbers. And if he wins
good
it,
for
that's
him.
great. Then he deserves it. But I don't want it
Of
to just
course.
you played 3 games and you came back from what you came back from, so we're going to give it to you just because you
Let me
showed up.
hand this to you. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. Not a fan of that. So, but good luck to everybody this season. Not wishing negative on anyone.
No, the whole NFL, obviously, everybody, there's a ton of injuries. That's why the whole thing is next man up. But I don't know how those guys do it. They're gladiators, man. It's a gladiator sport.
It's
It drives me
100%,
nuts.
dude. So fun to watch. So fun to watch. So we have 2 awards left. We've got Coach of the Year and MVP. Of course, we're going to save the best for last. So we're going to move on to MVP. No, I'm just kidding. Coach of the Year.
Imagine we're like, yeah, the MVP is not that important.
Yeah, Coach of the Year, though, most important one, just so you guys know. So we have Dennis Allen and we have Robert Sala. You've got Dennis. I've got Robert. What's your case, my friend?
Well, we both picked the Saints to win the NFC South this season.
True.
Obviously, a big part of that's going to be Derek Carr. So I think that if the Saints can win the division coming from where they were last year, and Allen's been there, I think, the last couple of years since Peyton left. So he's got the defense that he understands and they know their system. And their defense is actually usually pretty average, if not a little slightly above average. So if Carr can go in there with Michael Thomas, and once they get Kamara back in there, they have Jamal Williams there this year, their offense should be pretty good.
True.
And I think if they can win the NFC South and even be competing maybe for a 2 or 3 seed in the NFC, then I think
I
Allen
think they
has to be
can.
at the top of the list for Coach of the Year candidates.
Zero arguments there. You're right. I did pick them to win the division. I do have them, I believe, moving on in the first round as well. So I think they'll have a good team, and it's definitely possible. He is ninth at plus 2,000.
Well, I mean, nobody's picking the Saints to win it all, so I guess that's not that weird.
Oh no, yeah, no, I didn't mean it as not as anything, just kind of for the audience. I've chosen Robert Sala fifth at plus 1,600. What I'm basing this on is I'm just basically predicting and a good year for the Jets. They had the HBO around camp. They have the new veteran quarterback. They're dealing with the craziness that comes with having Aaron Rodgers on your team. The New York media is just breathing down your freaking neck constantly because I mean it's the Big Apple, right? There's all the media is there besides maybe here and obviously LA. There's other ones, but New York is the craziest one.
Yeah.
And if he can lead the Jets to the playoff berth for the first time in 13 years, yes, you heard me, 2010 basically, maybe 11. It's the last time they were in the playoffs. It's a long time ago, man. If they can do it, I'd say they hand it to him. Just because it's just like that's the Jets, man. Can you imagine getting the Jets? It's like just rebuilding that dumpster fire.
No, absolutely. And they, like you said, they've already been on Hard Knocks, so the story is being built from the get go by the NFL and the
Right.
league itself. So if they end up being this Cinderella story in a sense, because of where they came from last year with nobody at quarterback they trusted to Aaron Rodgers, then yeah, of course, then Salah's going to be at the top of the list for sure.
I see 100%. Yeah. Well, we've made it. Let's move to the favorite, the MVP, most valuable player of the NFL. Most of the time, they're quarterbacks. Do we have 2 quarterbacks, or are we predicting something crazy? No, we're not.
No.
It's definitely going to be a quarterback.
Yeah.
We do have 2 different quarterbacks, though, but it is still going to be a quarterback. We have Justin Herbert and we have Lamar Jackson. I've taken Justin Herbert. You've got Lamar. You've got Lamar winning MVP and Odell winning Comeback Player of the Year. And spoiler alert for those who haven't seen the AFC prediction, the Ravens winning the Super. This is going to be a good year in Baltimore, no?
I'm telling you, everything is lining up. All the people are coming back from their contract issues, their injuries. They're out to prove people wrong. They've brought in the new coordinator. Like, I'm just telling you, everything I feel is good. I think that Lamar is going to have one of the best seasons and probably win his second MVP. I think that the Chiefs will be right there and possibly win the top seed over the Ravens. Maybe they'll, have a tiebreaker of some sort and have the same record. But I think that the Chiefs coming off the Super Bowl win and Mahomes already having an MVP and them coming back as the defending champs doesn't make it, unless he has like, Tom Brady, they went 16-0 kind of year. Then I like, or 17-0 kind of year. I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah.
But I expect Lamar to come out and just have a huge year individually and get this team like, I expect him to at least throw for 28 touchdowns, run for another 8, probably 3,000 plus passing yards, 900 plus rushing. Like, I'm hoping he just has a huge year. And again, like you said, I have him winning the MVP, but I also have the Ravens winning Super Bowl. So I think a lot of that team.
I think that's awesome. I have nothing against Baltimore. Fan of theirs. I like Lamar Jackson. I'm glad he got paid. I feel like he deserved it. I do think that athletes, and there's nothing to do with him or his mother, obviously. I do think that they should just have an agent, man. Even if it's just a different person outside the family that you trust, just because it just gets really personal and thinking what your value is, and sometimes NFL teams don't want to be completely honest, and they felt like his value was a little less because of his injury history, Not that his talent is less. I doubt that that's ever what they were saying. It's just that when he's only playing and missing 3-4 games at the end of each season, when it's the most important and into the playoffs, I mean, we don't want a 1 through 14 week quarterback. We want the guy at the end, or really the guy all the way through.
Speaking of, you're talking about that and talking about you pick Justin Herbert to win MVP, but you didn't even pick the Chargers to make the playoffs. Do you think he could have a great enough season to win MVP and then not make the playoffs?
Corey, I really didn't think of that. Okay, that's a really good point. That's a really freaking good point.
I actually scrolled back up to our thing and looked, and I was like, I don't remember him having the Dolphins even. No, they're not even in your playoff 7.
Well, I do have the Dolphins, but the Chargers.
I'm sorry, the Chargers. You don't have the Chargers in the playoffs, so how can you
Okay, so maybe I was freaking wrong about the Chargers in the playoffs. Either way, they wouldn't be coming out of the AFC anyway. So let's don't, good point. So but I'll still build
on record, man. So I'm just letting you know.
I think the stats can still be there, and then I guess they'll be in the playoffs. Let's give them a wild card seed. Let's kick out. I don't really care.
Man, now your AFC preview is worth nothing.
No, it's not worth nothing because technically I would have them losing in the first round. So really, just look at from the second round on, and everything will still be pretty much exactly the same.
Perfect. Okay, cool.
But I do think, besides your horribly timed point, that the first year with Kellen Moore is what really sets him up to succeed, and I think that that's pretty much what he's been missing. He hasn't really had somebody who's been able to take his talent and really expand upon it. But you can see what he's done with Dak, and a lot of people think what you may of Dak. I do think he's not as good as Justin Herbert. Look at these stats. In 2 years, with the 16 games played, so all of the games, because this was before 17, he threw for 4,902 yards. This is Dak. In 2019, and 4,449 yards in 2021. In the 3 years previous, before Kellen Moore got there, Dak averaged 3,600 yards per season in seasons where he played all 16 games. So basically an average of 1,000 less yards.
Wow.
Okay. Herbert has thrown for 4,336 yards, which was 39 yards short of the rookie record. And he only played in 15 games when Andrew Luck played in 16. So he would have broke it, but Tyrod Taylor started game 1. So he didn't get to play all 16. And has since thrown for 5,014 yards and 4,739 yards. Kellen Moore is basically he has freaking Mike Evans, Mike Williams. They drafted Quentin Johnson. They have Josh Palmer. They got Austin Eckler. Dude, Kellen Moore is going to go crazy. So I will have to bite the bullet and say that I was a tad incorrect in my AFC predictions, and Justin Herbert's Chargers should be in there somewhere. However, I would still have them losing in the first round. So there's that.
All right,
that's what I'm thinking.
I like all our picks.